Hey everybody.
Hey.
So I don't know if you can tell where we're at, but we're not talking about this park yet because we have so much to cover. We're in Utah, obviously, and we're hitting all 5 parks like within 8 days. So this is actually our 4th one. Last night we stayed in a hotel.
We splurged. We haven't done it yet.
Like some bougie bitches. No, but seriously, like the hotel was the same price as the RV park out here, and the RV parks are literally parking lots in the middle of the desert. So I was like, let's just do the cheap
It was
motel.
worth it. Yeah, we had a nice night's sleep. It was fine.
Zeus didn't know what to do with himself. It was like
He's
so
so
much
used to the RV now.
It was so much space that he like paced for the first half an hour before he calmed
Right.
down. But you know, it's weird like being in a hotel. Like I felt guilty taking a long shower. You know, I think like especially as Americans, we're so used to just thinking that everything's unlimited.
Everything's unlimited, yeah.
And it's not. And now I'm just so much more consciously aware that like there is a limit to resources and to not necessarily to energy, but at least the way that we have it, you know?
Yep.
So
We don't need what we think we need. That's what we're learning a lot of. We're adjusting pretty good. I like it.
Yeah, I actually was pissed at how much space we had last night because I was like laying in bed and I wanted a snack, and like normally we can reach the fridge from the bed or
Right.
the couch,
Right.
you know? So it's like, yeah, I feel like when we have to come back into normal society, it's going to be like what happens when people are in prison for a long time and then you let them out. But it's like the exact opposite.
Kind of the opposite, yeah.
Like we've been free, and how are we going to adapt back to being in, you know, it's not prison, but you know.
Yeah, it's a good learning experience for us.
So,
let's talk about our parks. We've been to Zion, Bryce, and Capitol Reef. So we'll start with Zion. I personally, as of right now, Zion might be my favorite place in Utah. I loved Zion. The word Zion, its name, came from the Hebrew word for sanctuary or refuge. I think it's kind of interesting. There's a hidden subway slot canyon. Which requires, in order to get there, to hike it, you have to have a permit, you have to have orienteering skills, rappelling skills, and you have to be able to swim.
so Mark was like,
I'm good on 2
I'm
of those
out.
3. I can't. The swimming part, I'll take a pass on that, but it sounds pretty cool to experience. Zion's also home to the California condor, which we saw a condor once at the Grand Canyon from a distance. It was amazing. They're huge. They're found in Zion, especially near Angel's Landing, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. It's an endangered bird due to the lead poisoning from bullets in carcasses that it would feed on. It's kind of interesting and kind of sad too. So they are endangered.
but they're protected now since like the
protected.
1980s. So
They have a wingspan of up to 10 feet. They can fly up to 55 miles an hour and reach about 15,000 foot high. So they're a pretty impressive bird. And the last point on Zion I wanted to mention was it has one of the most dangerous hikes at Angel's Landing. Angel's Landing is 1,488 foot of climb in 2.5 miles.
and guess who I talked into doing it?
And we did it, yeah.
This guy. You do need a permit for it, and they will check you, and they will potentially chase you and try to fine you. We heard this crazy story about a couple that one of them was up there without a permit, and well,
Didn't believe it until we experienced it. She got the permit.
we both had permits.
Yes.
We respect our national parks, but you know, not everybody does.
Not everybody does. It was a lot of fun. That might be one of my favorite hikes, period. That was a great hike. It was fun. It was challenging. Amazing views.
So there's like chains that you have to hold on to for the last half a mile. The last half a mile is like where the really intense climbing part is.
Yeah.
Watch our video from Zion, like the reel, if you want to see it. It's like the last hike that we did. So
Yeah.
you can
You had to hold
just
them.
panoramic views and yeah, I was actually hoping it was a little bit scarier, but Mark was cussing before we hit the
It
top.
was
So
it was fun. I enjoyed it. It was a good time. On to Bryce.
all right, so Bryce Canyon is a misnomer because it's not actually a canyon. It's actually a collection of natural amphitheaters, which is like a hollow in the rock. And it has the most colorful concentrations of erosional geologic features. So hoodoos, fins, pinnacles, windows, arches, grottos. It is crazy looking. Like when we just got up to the edge and looked over, my mind was blown. It has more hoodoos than any other place on the planet. And the most famous one is Thor's Hammer, which we have some pictures of that in that video, in our Bryce video or reel. So according to Native American legend, the hoodoos used to be humans that were shapeshifters that would shapeshift into birds or lizards or other animals. And the trickster god Coyote transformed them into rocks because they were being bad.
Interesting legend. I like that.
Yeah. It is the smallest national park in Utah. And the one thing that I had no idea is it's actually part of the same geological feature as the Grand Canyon. So this feature is called the Grand Staircase. So the top is Bryce Canyon, and then it goes down to Zion, and then Grand Canyon's at the very bottom. So Grand Canyon is my favorite place on the planet. So these two parks basically being in connection with it, like, now I have to say, like, this is my favorite area of the country.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We were at pretty good elevation too up there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like over 8,000 feet?
Yes.
Was it over?
Yeah. So a lot of like huffing and puffing on our
It was fun.
on our hikes, but we did the Queen's Garden and Navajo Loop together. That's where you see the Thor's Hammer. And then I did the Fairyland Loop on my own, like a 8-mile run, if you want to call it that. And my mind was blown. I felt like I like morphed into a cartoon and was on like SpongeBob or something, because you feel like you're underwater. Like those rock formations are so freaking cool. And there was like basically no one on the trail. I saw 2 other groups of people on the trail in the 2 hours that I was out there. So
it's almost alien-like.
It's,
I mean, they're
like Mars. Yeah,
it's really crazy. I was impressed. I didn't know what to expect, and when you pulled into the park, it's not unimpressive. You know, you don't really see anything, but when you get on a trail, as soon as you reach the ridge of that canyon, it's like it's all right there. It's really gorgeous.
So, and then the last one we're going to talk about is Capitol Reef. Now, I'm not trying to be rude, but I was probably the least impressed with that out of Utah's. But we also didn't see everything.
No, we only did a couple hikes. It's pretty small, but I don't know. It just wasn't.
It's actually extremely large, but the main part of the park is really small.
It's like 100 miles long.
Yeah, it's big, but the part that people explore the most. So that's why I don't want to like.
Yeah, we can't dismiss it.
Talk about it.
It's cool. It just wasn't one of our favorite. I was curious about the name, so when I looked it up, Capitol Reef, its name came from all the white rock formations that resemble the U.S. Capitol building. So that's where the Capitol came from. And so many of the rock features represent or look like a reef, coral reef in the ocean. So that's kind of how it got its name. I think FDR gave it its name back in the early 1900s. Cool.
And the coolest thing there, though, is that it's known for its petroglyphs. Mm-hmm. So there's like some pretty cool drawings, which we have pictures of too. So that was cool.
That was kind of interesting. I've never seen those before.
Right.
Natural bridges, right? There's 2,000 natural bridges. The biggest one is the Hickman Bridge, 125 feet high.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
we did not go to see that, but it was probably really cool. We're smashing so much into this.
We have to sacrifice some sites
this week. Yeah, and it's hot, so we can only leave the dogs for a short amount of time, and of course dogs are not welcome on 95% of these trails.
Yeah.
So we every once in a while we'll take them on like a short one if it looks like there's no one out there. But
yeah, gotta be careful with the puppers.
Yep.
But right now, there's Balance Rock right there. Push it back into place. So stay tuned for our update and fun facts on Arches National Park as we're leaving here today and heading to Canyonland. So our next update will cover at least those two.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Cool.
Well, thanks for hanging out with us.
It's been fun.
Peace.
Peace out.